Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is the 5:30 News on Q2, Montana's news leader.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Jeanelle Slade. Well, some good news to start off your long holiday weekend. State health officials report no new confirmed cases of COVID-19 across Montana. But coronavirus concerns continue to impact life and business all around us. When phase 2 reopening goes into effect June 1st, almost every business in Montana will be allowed to open in some shape or form. But just being able to open the doors doesn't necessarily solve the problem. In our latest Rebound Montana story, Q2's Casey Conlon shows us one industry looking for help with a return to normal, still a long ways off.
You'd think the pub station and other independent music venues across Montana would be rejoicing after phase 2 lifts the restrictions on concert halls, allowing them to reopen. But guidelines in place still really don't make that possible.
Our model is based off of large capacity. And so for us, it financially doesn't work to have a smaller capacity to start with. 50 people does not pay the bills here. It actually loses money.
Technically, language in phase 2 allows for 50% capacity for concert halls, which would mean about 400 people in the pub station ballroom. But the 50-person cluster is the problem in a venue with no seats.
I just don't believe that people will adhere to the social distancing guidelines that are set out. First off, sober, and then when you actually add alcohol to the mix, I think that would be a really challenging situation.
And then there's the other half of the population who, according to Lynch, won't even entertain the idea of coming back anytime soon.
Even if I was told tomorrow that we could open at full capacity, the biggest mountain that we're going to have to climb on this, in my opinion, is the mental psyche of people feeling comfortable and being in a crowd.
Lynch opened the taproom area of the business when they were allowed to 2 weeks ago, but he admits he's only doing it to give employees some hours. Once their PPP funds run out in early June, he'll be forced to close that down again as the business continues to lose over 100% of its normal revenue.
Even in addition to us not having income coming in, we are also in the process of refunding tickets back for canceled events. So we are paying out a tremendous amount of money with getting literally less than 1% of what our usual income is.
Pure and simple, these venues that, as Lynch puts it, were the first to close and will be the last to open, won't survive much longer. So they're banding together. In April, owners across the country formed the National Independent Venue Association and introduced the Save Our Stages initiative. It's a campaign that allows people to send emails to national legislators urging Congress to introduce specific funding for extremely shuttered businesses.
It's not just us, there's a certain sector of hospitality, which is conventions, which also fits into this. Tourism is a big part of that as well. We know that we have a humongous economic impact on almost every community that a venue's in. We're asking people to say that this is an important asset for their community and it's something that they can't lose.
And they are. In the campaign's first 10 days, over 400,000 emails were sent to the U.S. Senate. Montana representatives seem to be on the front line.
You can reach out to Senators Tester and Daines, who have been really helpful in this situation. Reach out to Representative Giaforte. Also reach out to Governor Bullock on this because he has been really helpful. His task force really understood our unique situation that our industry was in. And so they included us in that task force recommendation, which we were very happy about.
Lynch says he and most would never consider taking a government handout, but their hands have been officially tied.
If they're able to bail out the airline industry over and over and over and over, they can definitely look at a smaller industry and bail them out because, when we see this chronically with larger businesses getting huge money, I think the request is pretty minor.
So here's the Rebound rundown. Phase 2 will allow concert halls to reopen, but continued strict guidelines make it almost impossible for many independent venues to do so. So they've started a campaign asking people to fill out a form directed at Congress for specific funding requests. Head to NEVA's website to learn more. Casey Conlon, MTN News.
All right, thanks so much, Casey. Now, tonight we have an update on the Rebound Montana Relief Fund to share with you. The fund currently sits at $145,192 thanks to the generosity of viewers like you, along with matching funds from MTN and AMB West Philanthropies. Remember, if you'd like to contribute to help Montanans financially affected by COVID-19, just go to ktvq.com/relief. Well, COVID-19 concerns have claimed a couple more big summer music events. Both the Magic City Blues Festival and the St. John Summer Concert Series will not happen this year. Well, as Montana health officials report no new confirmed COVID-19 cases today, we do have new information on the cluster outbreak in western Montana this week. MTN News has learned and has confirmed that the 8 positive COVID-19 cases in Ravalli County are employees of the Stock Farm Club in Hamilton. Now, members tell us one of the patients was hospitalized but was expected to be released into quarantine today. The other remain in isolation. In the Cowboy State, COVID-19 cases are climbing more quickly. Tonight, the count has reached 608. Yesterday, several cases were reported at a Casper child care center. And recently, a long-term care facility reported 11 cases, which have resulted in the death of a male resident. Other businesses in Billings reopening and taking COVID-19 precautions to do so include secondhand retailers like Goodwill. A community relations representative with Goodwill says the company has taken further measures to ensure the safety of customers and staff. They have implemented barriers at the registers to protect employees and add social distancing between customers as they wait in line. As people are getting out of their homes, donations are pouring in, but precautions come first.
Quarantining all of our clothing items and textiles, such as linens, for 3 full days. So we expanded it 2 days beyond what was recommended. And then for hard goods like plastics, glass, and metals, they're saying it could be on those items for up to 3 days. So because of that, we're quarantining those items for 5 days. That way we know when we put things on the floor, they will not have anything on them left over from the previous owners.
As she says, Goodwill takes the safety of its staff, customers, and donors very seriously. Well, new information tonight in relation to Montana's high-profile U.S. Senate race and a political action committee formed to promote the candidacy of a Green Party candidate. Now, records show the PAC is using a communications firm with ties to Montana Republicans. The Go Green Montana PAC was formed less than 3 weeks ago and is backing Green Party candidate Wendy Frederickson of Helena. Now, records show the PAC has paid $27,000 to a Salt Lake City firm called Arena for digital ads and other items. In the past decade, the Montana Republican Party and Montana GOP candidates have paid Arena $1.7 million for its services. The Montana Green Party says it has nothing to do with the PAC, and Montana Democrats say it's a ploy by Republicans to promote a candidate meant to hurt the Democratic nominee this fall. Now, the Green Party has made similar allegations. Now, the treasurer for Go Green Montana PAC did not return a telephone message seeking comment. Well, more than 30,000 ballots have already been returned here in Yellowstone County for Montana's June 2nd primary. Elections Administrator Brett Rutherford tells Q2 that number is pacing ahead of the 2016 and 2018 primaries by about 5,000 ballots. One reason, he believes, is no postage is required to return your ballot in this, Montana's first all-mail-in election. Now, Rutherford reminds voters to make sure you sign the envelope used to return the voted ballot. Your signature is required or your ballot will not be counted. Already in Yellowstone County, 336 ballots have been rejected for that very reason. Now, the elections office will alert voters if there is a problem so it can be fixed. A good reason not to wait until the last minute to vote. And elections officials encourage voters to get their ballot in the mail by next Wednesday, May 27th. That way you will ensure your ballot gets to the elections office by Election Day. If you choose to drop off your ballot, it needs to be in the hands of election officials by 8 p.m. on June 2nd. Well, also due to yesterday's court ruling that put Montana's new ballot interference law on hold, no paperwork is necessary to turn in multiple ballots. In fact, all reference that the law has already been scrubbed from the elections website. A court hearing on that issue is set for 1 week from today. Well, as we head into the Memorial Day weekend, Governor Steve Bullock has ordered flags be flown at half-staff for victims of COVID-19 and their families. The governor states that more than 93,000 Americans, 16 in Montana, have died from the novel coronavirus. In his proclamation, he mentions the loved ones left mourning. Now, the half-staff displaying started today and ends at sunset on Sunday. Well, today, May 22nd, has now been declared Wade Palmer Day. The day was marked on the front lawn of the Missoula County Courthouse earlier this morning. In a proclamation ceremony, Montana Highway Patrol officers and other local law enforcement gathered to honor Palmer's service. Trooper Palmer was shot multiple times during a pursuit of a suspect last March 15th and needed intense medical care in Salt Lake City, Utah. Today was chosen as Wade Palmer Day because it's the same day Trooper Palmer returned home last year.
We were just really happy to see him progress like he did. The people down in Utah were fantastic. The people up here are fantastic that are taking care of him. So it's really working good that way. He's came a long way.
Trooper Palmer is now back up and walking, and he actually attended the proclamation with his wife and children today. Well, still ahead on tonight's 5:30 News, how preparation is going at Metro Park for graduation and details about some changes to the MSUB fall schedule. Plus, we're off to the races with a Billings track star sensation. Scott Breen has all the highlights in sports.
And coming up in weather, even though we didn't have any severe thunderstorms today, it looks like we could see kind of a wet weekend. We'll tell you all about it coming up in a few more minutes.
You're watching MTN News with Jeanelle Slade and Russ Riesinger. Storm Tracker weather with Bob McGuire. And sports with Scott Breen. This is the 5:30 News on Q2, Montana's news leader.